Daniel stood in the central chamber, staring at the largest carving, the one he had come to believe represented the ultimate warning, the jaguar, massive, dominant, towering over smaller human figures. For weeks he had built his understanding around it, every decision, every route, every precaution traced back to that assumption. Predator, apex. The reason the people fled, but something didn't sit right. It was the eyes. He had seen jaguars up close, too close. He knew their shape, their posture, their movement, silent, grounded, powerful. But the carving, the proportions were off, the limbs too long, the spine arched unnaturally, the head elongated, not feline but stretched, and the eyes too large, too forward, too aware. Daniel leaned closer, running his fingers along the grooves. "This isn't right," he whispered. He moved to another wall, same symbol, but clearer here. He had missed it before. Not spots, patterns, not rosettes like a jaguar's coat, but etched lines, almost geometric, repeating, structured, not natural, designed. A memory surfaced, a random video, something about ancient art and how early humans sometimes drew what they thought they saw, not what was actually there, distortion through fear or through misunderstanding. Daniel stepped back slowly. What if they weren't drawing an animal? He retraced his steps through the temple, this time looking differently. Not for animals, for anomalies. He found them. Carvings where the jaguar stood upright, not fully but partially elevated. Others where its limbs bent in impossible directions. One where the figure seemed to be watching from above, not below. That didn't match anything natural. Not predator behavior, not jaguar. Then he found the corridor again, the one where the carvings grew clearer. He followed it deeper this time, past the point where he had stopped before. The air changed. Cooler, stiller, like the forest itself didn't reach this place. At the end of the passage was a chamber he hadn't entered before, small, enclosed. The walls here were untouched by collapse, preserved, and the carvings sharper, more detailed, more honest. Daniel's breath slowed as he stepped inside. This time the figure wasn't mistaken for a jaguar. It couldn't be. It stood taller than a man. Its body was lean but elongated, its limbs jointed in ways that didn't belong to any animal he knew. The head was smooth, almost featureless, except for two large, hollow eyes carved deep into the stone. No fur, no teeth, no claws. But something worse, intent. The human figures around it weren't just fleeing. They were kneeling, some reaching upward, others collapsing. One carving showed the figure touching a human and the human changing, distorting. Daniel stumbled back, his mind racing. "This isn't a predator," he said. "It's something else." Another detail caught his eye. Above the figure, etched, faintly but clearly, was a symbol he had overlooked before. Not a bird. To not the sun, something circular. Descending, his heart began to pound. The carvings weren't showing animals. They were showing events, encounters. Daniel looked around the chamber, suddenly aware of how deep he was inside the structure, how quiet it was, too quiet. The kind of silence that felt observed. "They didn't flee the forest," he whispered. "They fled this." A faint sound echoed from somewhere beyond the chamber. Not a growl, not movement through leaves. Something else, a low, almost mechanical hum. Daniel froze. The air itself felt different now, charged, heavy. He slowly turned toward the corridor behind him, dark, empty, but no longer safe. His interpretation had been wrong. The jaguar was never the threat. It was a symbol, a misunderstanding, a warning shaped by fear, and whatever the carvings truly depicted, it wasn't ancient history. The hum grew louder. Daniel tightened his grip on the blade, his breath steadying, not with calm, but with focus. 6 months in the forest had taught him how to survive predators, but this was something else entirely. Something not bound by the rules he had learned, and for the first time since waking up in the forest, Daniel felt like prey again.